I'm a person who is obsessed with the concept of love. I think about love a lot. And not love between a person and a person, love between a person and their nation. So many times I ask myself if Nigerians love Nigeria, if Nigerians love being Nigerians. And that's an interesting question. Sometime last year or 2 years ago, Nigeria was playing South Africa. It was the final of the African Cup of Nations. It was interesting to see women and young ladies gathered in cafeterias, gathered in any space with television and a satellite TV, and everyone was cheering for the Nigerian team. Normally, women in large numbers don't watch football, but they were watching this time, they were cheering this time, they were rooting for the Nigerian national team. It struck me, and I was thinking, is this love? It's not love for football, definitely not. So was it love for Nigeria that they were exhibiting? What then do we understand as love? Kelly Clarkson gave an understanding of love. She said, it never walks away. It never breaks her heart. It takes care of her because it loves her. I then discovered that true love stays. Now, attraction, you get attracted to someone because you have an idea that they are perfect, because you have an idea that things will go well with them. You have an idea that this person, he has 2 arms, he does not have visual impairment, he does not have mobility impairment, he doesn't have any impairment whatsoever, and so you love them. You love them because in your head, they are complete. But I wrote a poem once where I said, we do not love because we love in spite of. So despite a person's imperfections, because when you conceptualize someone in your head, you think they are perfect. When you see people who talk about people they have a crush on, they say, because you're beautiful just the way you are perfect. I think love starts when perfection stops. So love only starts when you see reasons not to love. Today I'll be talking about love, but not love between a person and another person, but love between a person and their nation. On the 10th of August, 2025, in that week, we had 2 altercations at the airport. We dubbed it as 2 qualms. The first altercation was between a 26-year-old lady and airport officials. She was immediately thrown into prison and given a lifetime ban on flying. We had another altercation between a better connected person, a wealthier person, and this person was given a mere 6 months ban, and the person was left to walk away. He was even made an ambassador. Same crime, different justice. Now that is the Nigeria we have known all our life, a Nigeria that breaks our heart. Yet, true love stays. It makes people question, is it a nation deserving of loving? Is it a nation deserving of patriotism? I then came to realize that patriotism is not sentiment. It's not because a nation is perfect. G.K. Chesterton said, we do not love a nation because it is great. It is our love for the nation that makes the nation great. I wish I could ask the audience here, what do we think the Nigerian dream is? If we picked 9 in 10 people, what do we think the Nigerian dream would be? I asked my students this question, and they said, well, to Jakpa, they said Jakpa, emigration, leaving Nigeria, was the Nigerian dream. You would see this picture a lot, where Atishola Shubawale holds a glass, and she says, welcome to a new dispensation. A lot of people have it on their phones. As they are applying for visa, they go download that picture. They want to post it on social media cheerfully, saying, well, I've escaped, bye-bye. If you go to Lagos, the Muritala Mohammed International Airport, you would see educated professionals, ambitious graduates, skilled workers, everybody leaving Nigeria to somewhere else. Yet, every time it's October 1, every time Nigeria has an international match, you see everyone wear the Nigerian jersey, you see everyone hold the Nigerian flags. During NSAS at the embassy in London, you saw a lot of Nigerians protesting. So it looks like we love Nigeria, but then there is an interesting way we conceptualize our love for Nigeria. What does true love look like? For me, true love stays. Now, those who go abroad, when they go abroad, they say they will contribute to Nigeria from their abroad, and I think you would hear it a lot on social media. I want to love Nigeria from the abroad. I want to love Nigeria far away from Nigeria. And they are not lying. People who go abroad, they send remittances back home. In 2024, they sent about $20.7 billion in total to Nigeria. These remittances build schools. These remittances help people start businesses. These remittances, it helps people build houses. People build houses back home even while they are abroad. To put that $20 billion into context, the total amount of internal revenue generated in Nigeria in 2024, put together from all 36 states, was about a little over $2 billion. So remittances was more than 10 times the total internal generated revenue from all states in Nigeria. So remittances, they help people, they help individuals, but can remittances build a civil service? Why do you need a built civil service? Why do you need a good civil service? Do you have to pay bribe to get a paper signed? Will remittances help fix that? If a fire broke out in this hall, we are in Osun State, we have 30 local governments in Osun State, and if you check the governor's social media, you'll find that he bought 4 new fire trucks recently. In total, we have 7 trucks, 7 fire trucks for 30 local governments. That's a ratio of 1 to 4.5. 1 fire truck to cover 4 local governments. Can remittances fix that? Can remittances help midwives? Can remittances help us when someone is pregnant and needs to give birth to a child? True love does not walk away. True love stays. Nations are built on 3 mechanisms, on 3 major mechanisms: institutional knowledge transfer, trust networks, and iterative problem solving. By iterative problem solving, I mean repeated problem solving, because the problems will not stop magically. Now, love does not make perfection. Continuous love does. Remember, G.K. Chesterton said, "We do not love a nation because it is great. It is love that makes a nation great." Over 40,000 nurses left Nigeria between 2022 and 2024. Over 50% of the licensed doctors in Nigeria also left. Now, that is a problem, because when you get sick, the people who are best skilled at taking care of you, they are fast leaving the nation. How do we do it? Do we want to do telemedicine? Now, I've watched Elevator Baby. If you watch Elevator Baby, a woman is stuck in the elevator and a doctor helps her. A doctor helps her via video conferencing. But how often can we do that? Can that work in remote areas? True love stays, and no nation can be built by proxy. World Bank data suggests that people who try to build communities remotely have a success rate of 30%. Those who go and immerse themselves into the community, they have a success rate of 70%. In Nigeria, in 1977, after the Festival of Theatre, Arts, and Culture, we built something we call the National Theatre. Because it was a military regime, we built it and structured it like a beret. You would see the picture there. Now, we took it from Bulgaria in Eastern Europe, rather. We brought it into Nigeria verbatim. The consequence is that Bulgaria is a very cold region, Nigeria is a very hot region. If you see now, I'm sweating, because we are a very hot region. You brought the structure from a cold region to a hot region verbatim. The consequence is we could not hold any theatrical performances there. We needed to renovate it with billions and billions of naira, and we launched it this year. It is now Christ-themed, Wole Soyinka Theatre, and the likes. So, it is not because we lacked expertise, it is because we lacked context. For further context, the ATM technology. We brought the ATM technology from regions where they had uninterrupted power supply. We brought them to Nigeria where we have frequent power outages. The consequence is, when you used ATM originally, you slot in your ATM card and it got stuck because, permit me to say, NEPA took light. You had to write a letter to your original bank, and then you take the letter from your original bank to the bank whose ATM swallowed your we call it swallow, yeah, but then the bank whose your ATM card got stuck, and so we had a lot of problems. When you bring solutions, you can't solve a nation by proxy. You can't solve a nation you don't understand. You have to immerse yourself in the reality of that nation. So if you want a nation to work well, you can't afford to leave it. Trust networks. A nation is solved, a nation works when people trust each other. Banks need to trust that borrowers will pay back. Investors need to trust entrepreneurs. Citizens need to trust that infrastructural projects will be completed. This cannot work unless people see these people continuously and they see that they have stakes in their nation. Repeated visibility with visible stakes. To ask yourself, if you are so invested in your country, let's go back to Singapore. There's a most popular book, a bestseller by Lee Kuan Yew, From Third World to First. How did they grow from a country where everyone was running away from to a country where people literally migrate to? They brought people back, expats who were Singaporeans from different parts of the world. They came back to Singapore. Their retirement depended on the Singapore's pension system. Their children went to Singaporean schools. They put their personal credibility on the line every single day. In Afghanistan, after the 9/11, the United Nations went into Afghanistan, guns are blazing, like they're threatening to do now. What happened was they brought experts, they stayed in certain compounds, they did not migrate to the people, they hired translators to come around, and so they came in for 18 months, they were in certain compounds, they were protected by the military. They stayed for about 18 months each before they are rotated out. The consequences, when in 2021, 2022, the Joe Biden administration withdrew the United States from Afghanistan, everything collapsed from gender equality. Women stopped being allowed to go to schools. Everything progressive that the United States spent 20 years and at least $145 billion planting, they began to get uprooted very easily. Compare that to South Korea. After the Korean War, where North Korea went separately, South Korea went separately, South Koreans left Stanford University, they left Oxford, they went back to South Korea. Their children went to Korean schools. The result is a thriving city called Seoul, a thriving country called South Korea. Money is not enough. Remittances are not enough. True love stays. You cannot build a nation, you cannot claim to love a nation that you don't live in, that you don't invest visibly in. Remote building can only do so much. You can only do so much from afar. You have to come around, you have to live in that nation. Now, no nation can be built when 80% of its best hands, or its best hands spend 80% of their years abroad. This is what happens. People come back when it's time to retire. They build houses in Nigeria, and the plan, Nigeria is a retirement home. They have retirement home in Nigeria. They spend only 20% of their best years in Nigeria. That is the years before 25 and after 60, and then they come back. Nigeria cannot work that way. No nation, you can't build a legal system, you can't build a civil service, no nation can be built by proxy. Now, here is the vicious cycle that we are stuck in. People leave because the institutions are weak. You have to pay a bribe for everything. You have to pay a bribe to score good, to get good scores. You have to pay a bribe to get your license. You have to pay a bribe to even get your passport. So because of the weak institutions, people leave. Because people who are competent enough to fix the systems are leaving, the institutions become weaker. Now, because the institutions are weaker, more people leave, and things keep spoiling, things get bad. What can we do to fix it? We have to change things from small silos. We have to build centers of excellence separately. We build centers of excellence in specific institutions. For example, on AAU campus, there are little centers where things, for example, in University of Ibadan, there is the Center for African Studies. In OAU, there are different fellowships, different centers on campus. We need to export ideas from these small places. We need to find these small places, make them internationally competitive with a mantra of excellence, export the ideas. We create room for people to build full careers in Nigeria with internationally competitive standards, although the salary might not be competitive internationally. That way, we're able to attract returnees to come to Nigeria, not to come back to mediocrity, to come back to excellence, but then they might have to take salary cuts, they might have to take standard cuts and the like. Now, what does a love that stay look like? It looks like a teacher who goes back to schools to mentor students into believing again. We're in an era where people think school is a scam because they leave schools and there are no jobs. We need to find teachers, we need to find nurses who will go to rural areas to treat people voluntarily, who would go to rural areas with faith, with commitment, with a sense of patriotism. We need people who will run for office, even though the system is dangerous. We need people who would volunteer, people who would donate to people whose visions they share. How do you know if you're invested in your country? Ask yourself, do your children attend its schools? Do you navigate its bureaucracy? Does your retirement depend on its stability? If the answer to all these questions are no, your love for the country is deeply, deeply questionable. The Yorubas say, àgbájọ ọwọ́ la fi ń sọ̀yà, ọwọ́ kan ò gbẹ́rù dórí. The meaning of that is you can't lift the load with one hand. We need to put our hands together. That hand is nationhood. You can't build a nation, you can't love a nation that you don't understand. You can't love a nation, you can't build a nation that you are running away from. True love stays. No nation can be built by proxy. So my admonition to you is to stay. My admonition to you is to build. My admonition to you is to fight. Not with anger, not with hashtags alone, but with endurance, with a sense of excellence, with a mantra that says, not on my watch will it collapse. Not on my watch will it collapse. Not on my watch will it collapse. Thank you very much.